morning. It's Kuga, and thanks, Rebecca, and thanks for hearing from Yass Valley Council. We'll talk about the challenges of managing this water supply from Yass River catchment, and it's the Yass Dam was initially built in 1927 with the height, and you can see 1,125 megaliters, and it has a huge catchment of 1,230 square kilometers. That was built, and initially the water was supplied from this dam, and siltation keep happening, and the storage capacity reduced to 830 megaliters. And that led to decades of water restrictions in Yass until 2013, and a moratorium on new developments. And finally, the Yass dam wall was raised by 3 meters in July 2013, and you can see the storage capacity tripled to 2,464. So that gave a little bit of security in 2013, and but the development pressures are still there. In terms of water supply, when the dam was built, it was supplied without treatment. It's Yass is at the junction of a railway town. There was prior to this dam, there were small weirs that used to supply the steam engines, and then the water treatment plant was built in 1938. That again, the one you see on the right-hand side was built in 1990. Probably some of those things will catch your eyes that require a lot of work to be done to the standards. At this moment, water supplies to Yass Town, Marambetman, Bowning, and Bainarong. We recently completed a water transfer to Marambetman village that was dependent on groundwater. Supply around 7,300 people. Yass water, I think probably time to time, I think we are the neighbors of Canberra, and there's a contrast of water. That's the quality or distinct taste of the water that can be attributed to the catchment and catchment quality. That Yass water is something historically was there, and then we have increasing population and demand. That's probably a little bit of spillover from Canberra and surrounding areas, and the expectations are rising. So even though historically there were people who put up with the Yass water, recently there is more agitation and more requirements to bring it to a better standard. So in terms of when we come to these extreme weather events, and this is one example. This one was in August 2020, and that was preceding a long spell of drought. That's one example where we went even to a boil water alert. When this happens, there is sudden changes in the raw water quality, or this is the water that we have to draw from this dam to treat it and make it to a glass of water to drink. There's a lot of challenges. That's treatment plant that was built in 1990 with those quality at that time or the expectations at that time, and now times have changed, and also the events are changing. And then one of the other uniqueness of this catchment is it is a water supply catchment, yet it's not protected. So there are agricultural activities, livestock, everything. And also I think I would say, even though we do a lot of work to protect it or manage it, still I think it looks like with these severe weather events or extreme weather events, the type of turbidity, you can say it's like like coffee. That's one of the biggest challenges. But not to say I didn't provide a photo of when there is a drought. Then again, you would get all the sediments that's in the dam, and that cause a lot of. I think the last time, the one before was in 2019 February. I think it was about a week of 40 degrees of temperatures that was happening, and then we had a lot of smell, or because the water in the dam, when it was not overflowing, it gets unhealthy because of the sediments and temperature, and become anaerobic, what we call without oxygen. And so those are the main challenges we have. That's some examples of what we have. Say in the top one is the raw water turbidity, or I mean the cloudiness of the water that we get to treat it to bring it to drinking water standards. Another example, or one aspect of it, in 2021, last year, it was a wet year. We had this maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 events, yet we didn't hit the news because of a wet year. We had a lot of ground cover and a lot of filtering effect of the water, except at in August somewhere here. Even with that, it's just about 250 or something. Somewhere here, it's happy days. The water treatment plant can treat, but still there are other problems like taste and odor. But if you look at these ones, like it's in 1 year from January to December. The blue one is 2016. You could see it. I think the scale turbidity went to say 1,000, and we don't have an option to, most of the other towns. It's a similar situation in many other small towns, but to stop treating water for a while, but it's not been designed yet incorporating. I'll come back to that in a next slide. So say in 2018, that was a quite dry year all the way year round. Then it also has some other challenges with the pH or the alkalinity increasing. So the treating this water is quite a challenge. And by December, there was a big rainfall in 2018 December, and that followed by the 2019 big rainfall in February. So that's the main challenge we have, and also a lot of public outcry. And in terms of what this means is it's an increased cost of water treatment capital, in terms of, you have to treat this water because learning from the first two presentations this morning from Janice, and it was from Icon Water. So water is a finite resource, and then if we have to use whatever we have in our catchment or locally. If we want to treat that, we have to design our systems that require more sophistication, as well as to deal with bigger variability. So that's a big challenge. Again, the operating costs will also be higher, and it will be water and wastewater self-sufficient or self-sustainable operations. So it will be passed on to the customers. And the other impact is the reduction in safe yield. So if the ground cover or health of the catchment doesn't or decrease or deteriorate, the amount of yield, so that can come from this catchment will reduce. So all this planning for how many people we can sustain and what kind of restrictions we should have, and those things will be impacted. And in terms of measures, of course, the upgrade water treatment plants, some work is still happening, but one of the messages that I would like to highlight is, even though we have these extreme weather events and things like that, how much that is being translated into when we plan the water treatment plant, because we have to deal with this variability in the flow and quality. And I think still we haven't catch up with changing our design parameters. So the thinking behind the planning, say, if you want to upgrade the water treatment plant, one of the issue, but what we are now over the last 2 years we have been discussing is, or being a bottleneck, is that we have a problem that we are seeing and it's not going to go away, and it's going to become more severe. So can we ignore and just design based on the previous past, or we have to take more into account? So that is one of the challenge there, and also probably some thinking to go around with higher levels around the departments that manage these things and all those things. And the second one is, of course, improve catchment health. I think it's not a overnight fix. It requires sustained long-term effort, and it has to be multi-pronged project. So that one, that's a long effort. And then Yass Valley, or at the moment, whatever we have here is to use efficiently, recycle, and other sources, water transfer. That's some of the things that's happening at the time now. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Kuga and Rebecca. It's really important that we're able to see examples of the challenges that we face in the region, and you've really highlighted those very, very well, I think, both in terms of a river health perspective, but also in terms of water supply, looking at the historical impacts and the ways that we've modified the catchment, but also the challenges of climatic extremes that we're increasingly experiencing too. So I think that's really been helpful to get those perspectives. So thank you both.